Hi GreatDrams, and welcome to another GreatDrams Q&A with me, Greg Dillon, the writer and owner of GreatDrams.com. Today we're going through another three reader questions, and they're all around quality of whiskey. So the first one, and it's one I get asked at nearly every single whiskey tasting I host, be it a public one or be it an in-home private whiskey tasting, is what is the best whiskey and is older better? And the simple answer is there is no best whiskey. The best whiskey I have right now is this one in my hand, and frankly, it's good. It's a Lefroy Cartridge 2015, and it's absolutely stunning. But you might not be into peated whiskey, or you might not be into the kind of richer, more depth of whiskey. You may prefer a fruitier and lighter whiskey like an Auchentoshan or even a Glenmorangie. The best whiskey that is out there is the one that makes you smile and the one that you enjoy time and time again. And is older better? Not really. Older is a good sign of scarcity and rarity, and time spent in cask is obviously more valuable because it's a long-term investment for the company who's selling it on. But from a consumption perspective, they're not always amazing. I'm very fortunate in my job that I got to try 3 50-year-old whiskies last year. And I have to say, one was absolutely stunning, definitely one of my favourite whiskies on the planet. Maybe the top 10, definitely the top 20. One was alright, it was good. The environment and the ambience and the people I was with was more what kind of created the atmosphere and the enjoyment factor for me. And the third one, I have to say, is probably one of the worst whiskies I've ever tried in my life. And no, I'm not going to tell you which one it was. For some reason, the company must have just got the cask, seen it was 50 years old, bottled it, pumped it out there, and for me it just didn't work. But for others, they absolutely loved it. And so that's the thing about whiskey enjoyment. There's no best whiskey, worst whiskey. It's the best one for you, and it's probably going to be different to the best one for me. The second question that I've been asked this week quite a lot is, what is NAS? A frequently used acronym within the whiskey world. And it stands for non-age statement or no age statement, and essentially it just means a whiskey without a number on the label or the bottle. Traditional whiskey writers and bloggers and enthusiasts and drinkers often see this as quite a negative, sees it as a way of companies getting rid of younger stock by blending with older stock, so that the volumes of older stock can keep maturing and be released subsequently for higher and higher premiums. But myself, I'm an optimist within this industry and love what I do, as you know very, very well. And for me, it allows the master distiller and the master blender to create whiskies that are on brand, are the right character for the distillery, but crucially expresses their personality and allows them to do weird and wonderful things like experiment with different casks, or for example, the Dalmore Quintessence recently is the first scotch with 5 different red wine cask finishes, doesn't have an age on it, still retails at £1,000. You know, these whiskies are not young, cheap rubbish. They are quality whiskies that have had master blenders and distillers pour time and hours and love into their creation. Richard Patterson, actually of the Dalmore, told me recently that the NAS thing for him is very much a frustration, because he doesn't ever under his watch release anything that's substandard. And I think we can all testify to the Dalmore having some stunning releases out there. But crucially, what he did say was that he doesn't believe any of his peers and contemporaries would do that either. And coming from the man himself to just universally praise the master blenders and distillers of the Scotch industry, saying that they're not going to release substandard whiskies under an NAS flag and still premiumise it, is an interesting point to be made. I've heard the counter argument, as I mentioned earlier, of people trying to get rid of younger stock and accountants being more prominent in the whiskey production kind of process by demanding that the higher stocks be used for single malt limited edition releases versus blending them into different distillery characters or blends in their own right. But for me, NAS is a good thing. It's an expressive thing, and it means that you've got a whole raft of different whiskies. And what is it that makes a 12-year-old standard single malt better than a 10-year-old standard single malt? Nothing. A 12-year-old Glenfiddich is wildly different to a 10-year-old Ardbeg. Both are the entryway into their respective ranges and distillery releases, but who's to say one's better, one's worse? They each win numerous awards every single year, and they've got age statements. But Ardbeg, Ugadal and Korevrekin, which are the premium versions of, or the premium releases within their range, they're also winning awards and they don't have numbers on them. No one seems to complain because of the cult of Ardbeg and whatnot, but is there a question to be had whether people who are saying that NAS is a bad thing, what are the motivations there? I honestly don't know. But then you also take releases such as Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker Blue never, to my knowledge, had an age statement on there. The early releases had whiskies in there up to 62 years old apparently. But Johnny Walker Blue is one of the global icons of a super premium whiskey, yet has never had an age number on it. And no one seems to question that. Why not question it with a blend when it is questioned with a single malt, such as Talisker Sky or some of the other releases that I've mentioned already? Open question back to you, I guess. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts. The last question for this session is a very simple one, and I think it'll be very quick to answer, and it is, you seem to have the best job in the world, can we swap jobs? And the answer, unfortunately for you, is no. Cheers.